Hello everyone, welcome for another episode of Dialed Minds. Today's guest we have Courtney Hettner, who has founded the business The Pulse Co, located in Adelaide in South Australia. Wow, Courtney, you've really set up this business from the get-go. You've been going for 6 months. You've built this massive amount of success straight away. You've branded your service really well, and that's how I came across you, because your branding was just fantastic. And yeah, you've got a great fan base of customers already and a rapidly growing team. So yeah, let's get talking about that. Welcome to the Dialed Minds podcast. I'm your host, Josh Arnold. Each episode we dive into the minds of high performers, from trailblazing business owners and founders to iconic sports heroes and everyday legends who've carved out their own path to success. We're unpacking real stories from real people to answer the big question: what does success truly mean? So whether you're chasing a dream, building something from the ground up, or simply looking for a spark of inspiration, you're in the right place. Let's dial in.
Oh God, I feel like a little bit of like tall poppy syndrome at the moment. Us Aussies don't like talking about ourselves that much, but yeah, I guess like we have grown, I guess, pretty decently over the last 6 months. It's still an absolute slog though. It's been a really, really tough 6 months. It's also the thief of joy is comparison. You compare yourself to other spaces that are booming a lot quicker, but I think you just sometimes need to pull it back a little bit and go, okay, most businesses don't, have any kind of profit or even break even for the first 3 to 6 months. And we were...
Or years.
For some. And we were profitable basically by month 2. Mind you, my wages were very, very low because it was just me. So I wasn't paying myself. And yeah, just slowly, I think it's... I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think it's kind of a really nice way to do it. I have seen studios in the past where one of their issues is the owner doesn't teach Pilates or anything like that, and they just hire people straight away. And in this day and age, it's, because it's such a saturated market, if you don't take off straight away, your costs are going to be ridiculously high, and then you just crumble within 6 months, which has happened to a few studios here, and I've watched it, and it's quite
personal
sad.
Connection for the customer as well, right?
Yeah.
Where they know that straight off the bat, they're coming to support you and your brand because of who you are. You were teaching at the start, and obviously it's not a position that a business wants to be in forever, right? Because otherwise you just have a job at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to be paying higher taxes and more responsibilities and just working, for yourself, but not so much on the business. But let's talk about the actual business itself.
Yeah.
So it's a fitness and Pilates studio.
Yeah. So we're a predominantly mat Pilates studio. We also do like bar. We do like strength and conditioning circuit style classes, like shadow boxing. We've done HIIT in the past, just stretch and mobility yoga. Like we do lots of things all based around the mat. I lived in Sydney for about 3.5 years, and I was managing a dance studio there, ended up managing a Pilates studio on mat. Over there is king. Everyone wants to do mat. I think it's also really expensive for a studio to be able to do reformers, or lots of reformers at least, because rental over there is just ridiculous. So everyone seems to lean towards mat. And what I noticed over here is that everyone loves reformer, but slowly mat is coming in. South Australia tends to follow after like the eastern states, and like Victoria a few years down the track. So I don't know, I just felt in my gut that that's what was going to happen. So came here, did that. And yeah, we've been a mat studio ever since. It's been really nice because a lot of clients who said, they didn't really like reformer or anything like that, they've been coming here and said, I actually really love Pilates. I just didn't love reformer. So they're getting a really, really challenging workout because we do a little bit more of like a new school style of mat Pilates. We are women, I guess, basically a women's studio. We're not, in the beginning, that wasn't the plan. I definitely, throughout all my marketing and, my content was a mixture of men and women. I had all my friends and, family come and do it with us. And just from opening week, 99% of people who came were women. So I was like, all right, I think we just need to lean into this, which is pretty industry standard, that it's women-based. And yeah, that's what's happened. We've really leaned into being accessible. What I find with a lot of spaces, it can be really intimidating, especially if you've got that aesthetic of a lot of thin, really fit, beautiful looking like 20-year-olds, and then you've got someone in their 50s who's like just getting back into exercise, or even someone in their 20s who's never exercised before, and they're like, that's just too intimidating for me, so they never go. And so we were trying to be a space that's, one, still super challenging. We definitely design the classes for the fittest person in the room and then modify from there. And then also just emphasizing that go at your own pace. Like this is super low pressure. Like,
so it's a really inclusive space.
Yeah. Like I'd never want anyone to come in and be like, oh, I've had the worst day ever. I am feeling exhausted. I'm just here. Like I'm barely even made it here. And then you have an instructor yelling at them to go harder. It's like, get to know your clients first. Have a conversation about how was your day. And if they, if you have that relationship with you, they will tell you, I've had a pretty average day. I need to go a bit slower today, and they can go slower.
Yeah.
Or if you know your client well enough and you go, are we just being lazy today? Yes, we'll pick up the pace. So being inclusive that way, so everyone at any level can come and be really, really supportive to one another. I'm also very big on like clients' personalities. Like, yes, as a business, you want to take on as many customers as you can, but what I find is if there's someone who I'm like, it just doesn't feel like they're going to fit within the culture, it's not that I wouldn't let them come, but I would be very careful around, I'd be very wary of like what they're going to do and what they're going to say, because I would never want anyone in the studio to ever feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And you need to sit with your A-class customers too, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that we've spoken about before, is, you've got your Bs, your Cs and your Bs and your As, and you've got the Cs where, there's problems in the studio. You've got the Bs who, are bouncing on either side. And then when you start to get a few As in the door and you focus on the As, and the As only know the As.
Yeah.
As don't hang out with the Cs. And it's not to say their personalities are any different or whatever, but generally you're not dealing with people who are arguing about the price. You're not dealing with customers who don't value you as a business. And I think that's really important. And I know what that's like when you're first starting out and you could be taking anyone and anything on because you think the customer's always right and that's what you need to do, and not always.
No.
And that's a big thing about us is we focus on people who bring us value so we can bring you value. So, by us bringing you value, they bring us value as well.
Yeah.
And it's a huge thing in our business. You actually went out there openly and honestly and said everything off the table of starting a business. You post the numbers, your revenue, your cost, what it was to outlay this business. And I'm sure some people would have seen that and probably taken those numbers for a run and started up their own studio or whatever. But I don't think that necessarily is a bad thing either, because you've been a positive influence for other people. So yeah, that's what I love about the business is, and yourself and your brand is you just put it straight out there from the start and talked about the numbers. I don't think I would have openly talked about the numbers in my business for a long time. Yeah. One, because I wasn't in alignment with myself and I actually didn't value. There was numbers in my mind I thought I needed to have, and I didn't value myself at that time. But I just think that's so cool that you've just gone out there and you've been like to people, this is what we made this month, this is what it cost us, and these are the challenges we're facing. And recently I saw you post a video about burnout.
Yeah.
And you openly went out there and said, I'm burnt out. I'm showing up every day and I'm absolutely ruined. But, what's that like for you to be able to openly admit that?
I was never really one to post on socials, like my personal one particularly anyway. And as I was going through this journey, I was really lonely. I was super, super lonely. Like my partner, as much as he's been helping as much as he can, like he did the fit out stage, amazing. He's a carpenter, so he did that all for us. But everything else, like I don't have anyone else in my life that has done something like this. I do have some friends, but they live in Sydney, like no one like right next to me in my corner and kind of going through a similar kind of journey. And I was just searching everywhere online and trying to find someone that I could resonate with. And majority of the things that I could find was just people excelling and everything about excelling. And I was like, I just need to feel like I'm not totally alone in this. Am I on the right path, or am I just like totally shooting in the dark here and there's no point like even going further anymore? So I was like, you know what, stuff it. I'm going to start posting my stuff and see if there's anyone else that has like it resonates with out there. It has been about a month since I posted last. It's been a wild month. We'll get into that later. But anyway, one of my first posts was about like my profit and loss, my revenue and everything like that over the last, like, I think it was like 3 or 4 months that we'd been open. And holy moly, like the messages that I got from family, from friends being like, what are you doing? Like you shouldn't be sharing your profit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, trust me. Like this isn't, I'm making a ridiculous amount of money. Like I'm in the start of a business and everyone knows, and also my clients know I wasn't paying myself, still not paying myself yet. Like I've been really like, I want to make sure the business flourishes before I start personally flourishing. Yeah, like everyone was just like, what are you doing? But I told all my clients like what I was doing in the plans, and they know I wasn't paying myself. So they know this isn't going into my pocket personally. It was going back towards them.
Yeah. And it's value for them. And I think the transparency is so important.
Yeah.
I can imagine as a customer, it's just like, you're so openly admitting what the numbers are. And I think it's also good for a customer to see what it actually costs to run a business, right? Because a lot of customers, absolutely fantastic. We have the most special customers. Never want to lose them. We absolutely love them. But there is customers that we come across, they don't have a clue what it costs to do what we do.
No.
And it's expensive. And you know what it's like. There's costs that just come out of your ass, basically.
Oh, yeah.
That you weren't expecting, or you think, this month is going to be absolutely amazing.
Definitely.
And then bam, you got to pay for this. And, of course that always happens. But it's just, the transparency is really cool.
Yeah. So started posting that, and it was just in, like, for example, you reached out to me, one person I got connected with, but I had honestly over 100 people reach out to me from all over the world. I had people from Ireland reaching out, like literally everywhere. I've had people, going, I'm about to start a studio, like asking me questions, sending voice memos to one another, like on advice and like what I would do. Or was like, make sure you look out with this for the council, or, definitely have a look into like this equipment. I loved this place. They were amazing, or whatever it is. Or just people in random industries just going, particularly with that burnout video, going, I resonate with this so much. I'm in exactly the same phase, or I was in this phase 6 months ago, and just like, or one person mentioned me going, watching this made me cry because I feel exactly the same way right now.
Yeah.
And it just made me go, holy moly, this is like, even though I couldn't find the content for myself, I almost found what I was needing at the time of having other people go to me, I'm feeling the same way.
And you've created a space where people are openly talking about that, talking about burnout, or talking about what they're experiencing in business. And it's not, it's not just, I guess, for you to draw customers in and stuff. You've built this network of people around you. And, I take my hat off to you in that sense, because I would have been the last person to admit that I was burnt out, because I thought by admitting something like that means I'm not showing up. And at the end of the day, I might be burnt out, but I'm still showing up, and you're still showing up.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool. Yeah. It's just the honesty behind it. And it's just such a cool modern way of getting your business out there and your brand.
That was the other thing. And I don't want this to come off in the wrong way, but I knew I had to build some sort of personal brand, because in this day and age, it's so important. And I thought, well, the only thing, and they always talk about on social media, you need to be contributing something in some way, and the content has to have some sort of value. We can't really get away with just a girl in like a pretty outfit anymore. Like that's just not the way content works. It needs to be some sort of value, whether it's comedy, whatever it is. And I was like, look, this is like what I'm going through in my life at the moment. It seems like a little bit niche. It's a bit scary to put it out there, but also I wanted to connect with people. And I am told that I always speak before I think. I need to sometimes pull back. My partner literally said to me today, make sure you think before you just start blabbing. That's what I've been like with all my customers as well. And they know everything about me. If they know if I'm having a really shit day and I'm like, I'm exhausted, guys, like I'm just getting through, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. Or I've even cried to some of my customers. Like we've all become friends at this point.
That's what I mean about that network of people around you. It's just transparency and honesty.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that about you always speak before you think, is anyone that knows me and is listening. So I always say a saying about myself is I say it, and the first time you hear it is the first time I heard it as well. And I'm like, I swear to you,
I'm a bit
I
like
have
that,
no idea I was going to say that. It just came out. And I'm not saying it was appropriate. I probably shouldn't have said it, but I said it.
No,
and,
I'm exactly the same.
And it's just who I am. And but I think probably us having that attribute to just say what we think probably helps a lot in life as well, because we're willing to say whatever we think about someone or people.
True.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you've been in business for 6 months. It's been this huge wavelength. I'm sure it's been, life-changing for you. Talk us through like the days and the days before business. Was there ideas of business for you?
Growing up, like I was a dancer from the age of 7. I was also a kid who did a ridiculous amount of sports. So movement's always been a part of my life. But the dream as a kid, and basically probably younger than 13, but 13 was always to have my own dance studio. I always had dreams of dancing professionally in musicals and stuff like that. But the biggest dream was always like, I would throw that all away to have my own business and studio. That was always the ultimate goal. My teenage years, like I kept training in year 12, like I auditioned for a full-time like dance school, Patrick Studios in Melbourne. Got in, went and trained there. And it was a great school. Like it was a tough school, a really, really tough school. But I came out so much better from that. But it also was a very isolating year for me. I didn't make a whole heap of friends. I did make some friends, but I think my biggest issue is I'd grown up in this little bubble of Adelaide, and I had lots of friends and lots of family there. And my first time going to Melbourne was the audition. My second time was moving there. And I think that was a really, really silly mistake on my behalf. I should have gone to Sydney where I have some family. I know the city a little bit. I would have found it a lot easier there. But like, you know, you learn a lesson. But I found that year really, really challenging, just like mentally, to be honest. Like I really struggled with my, I guess, mental health. And I definitely was suffering with a bit of depression that year. But it made me question dancing a bit. And that's when like the questioning of like, oh my God, is this what I should be doing for my career came into question. So the following year, moved back to Adelaide, met my partner. So I was 19 and I was still dancing. I was teaching dance. I was doing like showgirl gigs around Adelaide and like lots of little jobs like the entertainment centre and whatever here. And decided, you know what, I think I need to give this thing another go because I couldn't work out what I wanted to do. So I auditioned for Brent Street and I was like, I'm going to give that a crack. And that's one of the top schools in Sydney as well. Got in, moved to Sydney. So my partner and I moved to Sydney. My brother was living in Sydney at the time, so we lived with him. And I did it for 2 weeks. And by the end of the first week, I was like, this is not what I'm meant to be doing anymore. This does not feel right. I think for me, the biggest thing was like a lack of confidence that I honestly think I've had since I was a child. And, you know, my nanny used to always go to me, it's like, you're loud, but you're not very confident, Courtney. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Nana. But I think it's something I'm working on at the moment, and this business is part of that. But I quit that after 2 weeks, and I spent a lot of money to go to that school of my own money that I'd saved up for 2 years. Yeah, and then I decided to go to uni, and I definitely knew I wanted to go into business somehow. Went and did a diploma of business. And during that year, I was like nannying and like dog walking, and, you know, I was working in a bar and I was just doing a bit of everything. And while doing that, I was nannying for a family who owned a luxury like PR agency, communications agency in Sydney. And they offered me a job as I went and did an internship, and then they offered me a job as their office manager. Did that. And then did that for 3 months, COVID hit. So first 4 in with the first 4 out. So I lost my job there, came back to Adelaide for a few months, and I was like, oh, you know what? Like I feel like I need to go back into like the movement realm. Like I would love to go back to dance. And just before COVID had hit, I'd been doing a lot of Pilates and like bar Pilates and mat, and absolutely loved it. So I was like, oh, maybe like I'll do something in that. So I started doing my online teacher training for those things. And anyone listening, I wouldn't recommend doing online stuff unless you have like movement background. So whether that is dance or gymnastics or sport or whatever it is, so you actually understand how to place your body. If you're coming into it like really fresh or you haven't been training for years, I would recommend doing something in person.
What is something in person they can go and do?
Oh, there's plenty of courses. Well, shameless plug. We're actually going to be doing a course through Imbalance Wellness, Imbalance like training through their company in Sydney that are going to come to our studio, and they're going to host their own training. And we're going to do it a few times a year. Cool. So we're doing it, some's online, so you do your anatomy and like all your stuff online, but then you have in-person training to actually learn how to, you know, teach on the mat properly, how to, you know, correct people properly, and make sure that you're doing the technique correctly yourself, because it's very hard to know if you don't have someone there correcting you, or you can't see in the mirror, oh, I need to fix this. So we are doing that soon. But yeah, during that time, during, you know, the 2 months in Adelaide, I was like, oh, I'm going to go back into movement, contacted a dance studio in Sydney, and they're like, we're actually looking for someone to come on board in like an admin kind of studio manager kind of role. She'd never hired anyone before like that. She just had all teachers. So I went in there, started doing that, did that for a year and a half, and I absolutely love my boss from there. We're very good friends still. And that was just a fun experience. Like I got to teach dance again, and I loved that. And I loved like talking to the kids and talking to the parents, and I loved like the back end side of things. And I still loved the teaching, but it was the back end of things that I love. Like I love working out like, okay, what are we going to do this term? Like what's the strategy? Like I love that side of things.
And things like problem solving and it's
exactly,
so much fun.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was doing that. And then I got my certs, and we had those other big lockdowns in Sydney, and I ended up at a Pilates studio just after those, 2 of them actually. And one of them offered me a role as their studio manager. So I left the dance studio, went and did that, and I did that for 6 months. And during that time, that's when the dream had kind of morphed into a Pilates studio instead of a dance studio. I just felt like, as much as I loved working with kids, I felt like I wanted to work with adults, because you're not dealing with like behavioural issues quite as much. Yeah. Quite as much, you know, occasionally you can.
I can imagine.
Occasionally you can. But yeah, so I worked there for 6 months. I was like, stuff it. Let's like go do it ourselves. We'll give it a go. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We went traveling for 4 months, came home. I did my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, was doing like other odd jobs in the background. And then I was kind of like last May, I think it was March, I was like, stuff it. Like I just need to give this a go. I was definitely holding back because of the fear of like actually giving it a crack. And just
and I guess
March we started looking.
The worst thing about not giving it a go is you're failing if you don't try, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
You might have been lacking the confidence at the time to just get out there and do it. But if you're not actually doing it, you're not succeeding.
And you're also not working on your confidence as well. And I think that was my biggest thing. Like I've been relatively good at putting myself out there, but particularly with dance, I didn't audition for things because I was too scared to. And when I got in an audition room, I got so overwhelmed and worked up that I just was terrible. And it wasn't a true representation of like how I can actually perform.
And it holds you back.
Yes, exactly. So we decided to go stuff and do it. We started looking for spaces. We were negotiating the lease up until the day before we were meant to start the lease.
Wow.
And we started on the 1st of August. And then like 2 days later, we're in there doing the fit out and
Yeah. And that looked like an exhausting process in itself as well. And a costly one too.
Yes. So I was quite strategic in the way like of finding a space, finding a space in an area where what's the demographic like? So I was looking on the ABS and going, okay, like mainly 25 to 45-year-old women. That's the biggest demographic for that area. Perfect. That's my key that's my target market. Are there any studios in the area? In my specific suburb, there's not a single other studio. No one else is there. Finding a space that is an open shell, essentially, so I don't have to like remove walls or do anything like that. Rent is a reasonable price. I probably am paying like a touch too much on the rent, but I was very fortunate that my neighbour is a property agent, is his own company. So he was helping me negotiate that. So I managed to get 8 weeks completely rent-free, like for fit out, and then an additional 4 months rent-free, just GST and outgoings.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, like I can,
that's great.
That gives me a bit of leeway.
You can wear so much extra.
Exactly.
And I guess location's really important too.
Yeah.
Isn't it? We rent a warehouse in Darwin, and the reason, we basically said to the agent, put us there. We want to be there. We don't really want to go anywhere else. And I guess they were looking to put someone else in that location. And for us, for what we were trying to do, and for other reasons, because we had a couple competitors just down the road, we really needed to be in that spot because, where do they put McDonald's? Right next to KFC.
Yeah.
And so, we're the same. We're paying more rent there than what we probably would have liked, but location is key. Yeah. And it's been beneficial. It's got a huge frontage. It's got big signage out the front. We've had people stop past because they saw the sign, not because the damn website's, doing its thing. I mean, the website does its thing too, but it's another type of marketing. So how has your mindset played a role in your personal journey before and in business now?
I guess something that I'm definitely still working on is like the whole confidence thing. It's been and it still is definitely a work in progress. Even before we opened, so we had all the fit out process. We then ran into a whole heap of issues with the council because they didn't tell us the correct information when I contacted them twice. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But we ran into a whole heap of troubles with them. 3 days before opening, we got told by the council, oh no, you can't open yet because you don't have this approval yet. It's like, you told me I only needed this approval to open, not this approval. Anyway, so we had to cancel the opening. But leading up to that point, I was panicked. The fear set in of like, is this going to work? Am I going to get any clients? Like, have I just like blown $100,000 for my partner and I? And like, is this going to, look, if it didn't work, we would be okay. But it's just the fear. It's just the fear. I was like, this is what I've wanted for
when something works,
years,
you just make it work, right? If it's not going to work, you're not going to stop and you're going to keep trying. And that's what it's about. You've obviously had these challenges right before opening. You had to cancel your opening day and stuff like that. So when we're talking about the mindset, obviously you have to, I guess, in your mind, show up every day. No matter what. There's issues and, I guess you probably have experienced maybe staff not showing up and stuff like that too. It's a huge mindset game.
Yeah.
I said to someone the other day, I think business is 10% what you know and 90% what's in your mind and how you feel in your mind. 10% what you know, 90% of how you feel in your mind. Because for me, I don't work on my business anymore. I work on the people. And I actually work on myself more importantly than anything. If I'm not feeling healthy or awake or, you know, I'm just feeling crappy that day, we're not going to get much further. Luckily, I've got a big team who, you know, might be feeling good and, you know, they just kick the goals every single day. But in that business as a whole, over the years and years we have left to go, it's about working on myself. And I wonder if do you resonate with that?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I am definitely in the process at the moment of, like, I'll be honest, like, I'm in therapy at the moment. I just think I needed some tools to help me through this process, because you go into this and you go, oh yeah, like I'll feel better when I get here, or like I'll be doing better when I get here. And I think for me, I'm trying to treat this process as me building my resilience and building my confidence and trying to become the person I want to become, because it's not a nice feeling. It's an icky feeling. Like I heard, I don't know whether it was on a podcast or something else a little while ago, and they go, the idea of resilience sounds like so joyful and nice, but the actual practice of it feels disgusting. It's really icky. It just feels like you're walking through mud constantly. And that is me at the moment. But, you know, every day I go to my partner and I go, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And then I just keep showing up. And I go, okay, like this is the practice of resilience. This is, you know, and if I keep showing up and I keep doing the work, and, you know, there are going to be days where I'm a bit slower, I'm tired, like I'm doing 4:30 in the morning, waking up, teaching until 7:30 at night, not getting home till 8 o'clock.
They're just huge days.
Yeah, huge days. So, you know, some days I'm a bit slower, and that's okay. Like, you know, the next day we'll pick it up, you know? So it's just, I think also this is like a huge practice for myself of learning to have a bit of grace with myself and not being so hard, because my whole life I've been very, very hard on myself. I think, like doing something like this definitely shows you all your demons.
Business gets you to get to know yourself, doesn't it? It's crazy.
Hugely.
I didn't know myself at all before I got into this, and I feel like I still don't know myself fully. Every day I learn something new about myself, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, we can do this. And we had an episode with Taylor Bishop, a really successful real estate agent, and he just spoke so much about trust the process. Trust the process when there's no clarity and where, you know, like you said, you feel like you're walking through the mud. And it's just so amazing what comes on the other side of trusting that process. And for us, we experience that a lot. And there's been some times where we feel like, you know, like, wow, is it time to give up? Or like we said in that episode, you know, when the taxes come in hard and the bills come in hard and everything, and it all feels like it's falling apart. But actually, looking outside the box, it was actually all falling together. Everything was actually coming together. It's just so much was happening. For a guy like myself who doesn't like change, I'm like, so much is changing. And it actually ended up being the best thing. And it's been the best thing in my life, is having a business.
I think, that's definitely the mentality I'm trying to have towards it. And don't get me wrong, like most of the time I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on? But then as like, you know, my partner and I talk, and I know I keep referring to him, but he's the one who's in this with me. He's the one who's like supporting me through this whole thing. Just keep showing up. Like, as much as I go, oh, like I wish I could snooze, like I'm exhausted today. I actually can't. Like I've got people who are expecting me to be there.
And they'll be banging on the doors waiting for you.
They'll be banging on the doors, or to be honest, they'd probably be calling me going, are you okay? Like what's happened? Have you been in a car accident? Like anyway, but I think it's definitely getting to know yourself, like you said. But for me, it's, you don't become the person you want to become, or like you don't grow as a human being unless you go through the growth pains and like the pain of all of that.
That's right.
And it's just trying to constantly remember the bigger picture of why you're doing this. I'm doing a course at the moment through a company. Am I allowed to say who they are?
Yeah, of course you can.
Geronimo Academy. I love them. They definitely like tailor towards like gyms and Pilates studios, but they do help other businesses like dance schools and stuff as well. It's all around like setting up your business properly. But a lot of the things they do is like based on mindset. And honestly, like just having someone in your corner like that to help you.
And is this a mentoring agency?
Basically, it's a bit like a mentoring agency, but then it's also like they do mentoring, but then they have a structured kind of program and things they want you to implement within the business, because they opened their own F45s and gyms, and they've like kind of went off, you know, the norm and started doing their own thing and worked out how well it worked. And everyone in the industry seems to be going to them at the moment.
For sure.
I was struggling when I first opened. I was like, all right, we had the surge of first opening, and now we're just like, it's like, I don't know how to do meta ads. And I was trying to Google things and I just didn't understand it. So I found these guys just to do their sales course, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is easy now. And then I just kept going with everything else, and they're amazing. I love them.
We've said before how important mentoring is.
Oh, yeah, hugely.
Because I can't believe how long I went without a mentor. I really did. I had a good friend who was a good mentor, I think, in the first sort of 5-6 months. He unfortunately passed away. And ever since then, I never went down the route of a mentor. I made all of the mistakes myself, like costly ones too, very expensive mistakes. I made some good decisions. Obviously, we're still here and where we are today. But if I could go back to the part where you are now, that 6-month mark of my business, I would have paid any money in the world for a mentor. And I actually now pay a considerable amount of money every year, a huge amount of money for mentoring myself. And now I do mentoring for smaller businesses as well. And ones that I can work closely with, and I'm doing some stuff with schools and things too. So, but the mentoring is so good because let these people give you advice on the mistakes they already made 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 months ago. The guys that, the particular mentors that I have, they're running a $200 million equity firm. Huge, very successful. He's on the under 40 list and stuff like that. He's, but he's, him and his company as a whole is just fantastic. And I think, touching on that point where people, if people are listening and they are maybe worried about the confidence in themselves to get out there and give it a go, well, there's a huge network of people who are actually willing to help you. And
not being afraid to say, if anyone offers to say yes. That's been my big thing. I've had, even when I first opened, I was really fortunate that one of the potential clients, and she is a client now, came to me and she's like, hey, look, I'm the ex-regional manager for BFT, which is a huge franchise around the world. And she said, look, I'd be happy to sit down and chat with you through some things and help guide you along this journey a bit. I was like, done, easy, come on in, have your membership, we'll do this together. My old boss from another studio reached out to me after I posted those videos and I sat down and had a chat with her. I am willing to talk to anyone who will give me any kind of advice.
For sure.
If they have the experience in or something that could actually help me, not just someone who's never done this kind of thing.
That's a really good point to make too, because not so much now, but I know in the first few years of my business, I would get reached out to by a lot of people because I'm young. And my question to them would always be, thank you for offering the mentoring advice and you want to be a business coach or something for me. How big is your business? And they say, it's not about that. It's about looking on the outside perspective and stuff. I say, look, I appreciate what you're trying to do.
Yeah, but you have to do the thing.
That's right. But if you haven't been where I am currently, or you haven't been where I'm trying to go, I may as well make those mistakes myself. And it's going to cost me less because I'm not paying you to tell me how to make a mistake. So I think that's a big thing. It is about picking the right mentors and pick the mentors who's been in the game. And even if it's not the same industry, being in the business game, just the little things I know that, your first month you're posting about profit and loss and all of that. I didn't even know what a profit and loss statement was. I probably was, my accountant will shoot me, but I was probably 3 or 4 months into having a business. I didn't even know what a profit and loss sheet was. I think he said on the phone one day, he's like, just pull it up on Xero. And I'm like, Paul, what up? I got no idea. You know what a balance sheet is? I was like, what is a balance sheet?
You're also very, very young.
Yeah, I was 19 when I got in the game of business and stuff. So
I'm a little bit older than that.
Understandably, I didn't know that sort of stuff. I didn't learn it, but having a mentor who can help you with your banking structure, profit and loss, and all that simple stuff. Well, simple now, right? It would have been very, very beneficial back then.
Even just having someone, because I'm in this by myself, to bounce ideas off. And talk to, and just I'm very much, we speak before we think, and we didn't even know we were going to say it. I need to verbally process what I'm doing, but I need to bounce it off someone else. Go, does this sound right to you, or do you have any ideas that could help this, or something entirely different? Because that's the hardest thing I find doing this by myself. I never really wanted to do this alone. I did want a business partner, but at the time I didn't have any connection to anyone who wanted to do this kind of thing at that time. So I was like, okay, I'm very open to down the track if there is a business partner involved or however it ends up happening. I guess it depends what happens over the next 6 months. I just think having someone to bounce things off that understands what you're doing and understands your industry just makes things so much easier, because then you're just second guessing everything you do, and you're like,
and it's so good you're willing to ask the question or ask for help, and I'm so comfortable asking my mentors whatever I want in the business, even if it's the most strangest idea that I've had or something. And it's also good because sometimes they can bring me, as my team do as well, bring me back to the ground a little bit, because I'll come out with the most ridiculous idea. I'm very much a guy who has the idea, now we should have done it yesterday, not today or not tomorrow. So like sometimes it's good to be brought back to ground level a little bit and say, hang on a minute, why don't we sort of plan this out a bit? Because, you know, I have this thing, I have no track of time. So I just think, cool, we can do that straight away. Yeah. And then when people say, no, that's not achievable, I say, why? I don't understand. So
I'm a little bit like that too. I think that's also a little bit the problem with like my mindset is the expectation, the high expectations you set and expecting things to be moving a lot quicker. Like I expect it to be double where I am by now.
Yes.
It's not the reality of the world though. And also for some people it is, but that's a very small percentage of the people who are doing this that it happens for, and also depends on where you're living.
And you need to have that comfort within yourself to, you know, I don't know if your personality is like it, but I used to be the fact where I was chasing something more all the time. And like you said, you feel like you're going to be double to where you are. You thought you were going to be double to there. In business at 19, I told myself I was going to be a multimillionaire by 22, 23. Yeah. And then I ended up agreeing the fact that if it happened, I wanted it by 27 because I had 3 years to fix it by the time I was 30 if it didn't happen. Yeah. But I don't chase any of that stuff anymore. You know, I've got different goals in myself. It's not about money anymore. It's about the journey of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it's important for people not to, you know, is to just trust the process and be happy with what they have.
Why did you start yours? Like, what was the drive behind it?
That's a good question. I remember being in Woolworths in Loxton with my mum doing the grocery shopping, and I don't know how old I was. I was in primary school. And I remember this is one of the first moments for me where I thought business was what I wanted to do. I did definitely want a lot of other careers as you go through school and high school and stuff, but I remember, I don't even know what products it was or whatever, but I remember we were at the checkout and this lady was scanning these products through the register. And I was watching the number go up or whatever it was on the till. And I was thinking to myself, probably like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 or something. I was thinking to myself, okay, so you sell this, obviously we pay for it. This lady's obviously getting paid somehow. And I remember seeing, like, looking down the aisle to my right, there was these people filling the shelves and stuff. And something was clicking in my mind. I was going, hang on a minute. I was like, so it costs money for them to go in there, but then there's obviously a sale. Then obviously they had to get the products. It all made sense all of a sudden. And I started thinking, I think ever since then I was thinking about businesses and going, every business you walk in, you're like, okay, so this sort of costs money. The lights are on, it costs money. And it was very like childlike thinking at the time, not as developed as I think about it now, but still I have the same obsession. Doesn't matter what business I go into, I'm trying to work out in my head what I think it costs to run. Yeah. And that point for me, I was like thinking, wow, business is like a game of Monopoly. I'm like, it's a little bit of chance. I used to think it was luck, and now I realize you don't luck out. Like, it's the effort you put in. And it was just this big thing. And I was like, you can start with something so small and you can build it up so much. And it wasn't until I had a business where I was like, the people I meet is why I do what I do. I have business, you know, the cleaning business where staff come from all walks of life. Cleaning is generally a big rock bottom for a lot of people. So we meet people from a lot of different backgrounds in life. And I think, wow, the more I grow this business, the more I meet these people, the more they get to work for someone who thinks he's a good boss. I think I'm a good employer, or I think I'm a good leader. Oh my God. We can just keep going and going and going. And that's, you know, we have a healthcare business as well. Yeah. The bigger I am, the more developed we are as a business, the more people we can help. So I realize that I can empower so much impact. And I want to, you know, we have a bit of a slogan for my name now is empowering with impact and leading with purpose. And that's how, you know, if I were to write my name down on a piece of paper and look at what I try and be now, is I try and empower with impact and lead with purpose. Yeah. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting how like it kind of developed over time for you. Yeah. I think for myself though, it's a little bit of like a selfish one. You know, as much as like there's many reasons like I love doing business. Like I do love like building something from scratch and like the idea of like, you know, learning every little bit. I am I always say twitchy kind of person. Every job I've ever been in, 3 months, I'm bored. What's the next thing? Like I need to be constantly evolving in what I'm doing. So I think that's why when we do get to a point where I'm less on the floor and more in like the back end of things and like strategic kind of planning, I think that's where I'll really flourish.
Yeah.
But, you know, as much as I love all those kinds of things, like I love meeting the people and like helping people along their health and wellness journeys and also just connecting. A big thing like that's part of this course that I'm doing is find out why your clients are coming and not just like, I want to lose weight, like I want to get fitter, like find out the true reason why.
Yeah.
For example, like I've got some girls who are going, oh, like I want to be able to travel when I'm older and not be restricted by my body. Like I want to be able to climb the Great Wall of China or whatever it is. I've got some who are like, my kids, I just want to be able to be a great grandmother to my grandkids and run around after them. And I've just noticed like I just can't keep up with my kids at the moment.
It's such a special feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And even one girl, it's like she wants to find herself again and find the connection again. So like with people and, well, not one person, that's lots of people at the studio. And I can go deeper. I won't go too deep for some of them because, you know, that's their own personal stories. But you know, I think back to myself, I'm like, yes, okay. Like I love the idea of running my own business. I love the connection with people and I love all these components. But for me, like my deep-seated like reason why I want to do this is I want to be a mum. I want to be a stay-at-home mum, and society generally these days, unless your partner is earning like, you know, doing really, really well for themselves, it's not really possible.
No.
So my dream is to be able to still have not a passion project, but like a passion project, like something that I am still building and work on. But by the time I have kids in the next 3 years, that I don't have to be at 9 to 5 every single day. And I can be a stay-at-home mum, but then also do this on the side and somewhat pick and choose what I do. And then I guess for this as well, the other thing that I find really exciting about it is it can evolve into anything I want. So the dream isn't just to have studios. The dream is to go, okay, we're going to do, whether it is activewear. Activewear is also a very saturated market, but whether we do something like that, or to be honest, I'd love to go into like an online publication, podcasting about health and wellness or whatever it is, and just keep slowly tapping into other avenues and becoming, instead of just being, you know, a Pilates and fitness studio, becoming like an Australian like health and wellness brand and talking everything Aussie wellness products.
And that's such a special thing about business that you say, like, it's not just what you're doing now, is it? It's, there's so much for the future.
Potential, yeah.
And like you say, yeah, you would lasting in jobs and stuff and chopping and changing and you like the change. I said before I don't like change, but what I do love is the change in business in that sense.
Yes.
And I think that's why it fits so well for, yourself and myself, because it's like every day is different.
Yeah.
Something's different every day. We're learning something different. And now these days we're starting more brands and more businesses and stuff like that. It's like my job is never the same. So I'm never bored. It's always, you know, and I have to be working on multiple things at any one time. It's just who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just wired differently. But that's what's so cool about, what we're doing. And I think it's really cool that you say you're not limiting yourself to where you are now. And, you know, like you said, you could get into activewear or podcasts and all
exactly.
If I thought I was doing a podcast 5 years ago, well, no, I probably wouldn't have thought so. But the diversity behind what you can do is so special.
Oh, yeah. And that part definitely excites me, the idea of what we could do in the future. I think for me, like I said, like while I'm in the trenches and while I'm in the thick of it, sometimes you forget about it. It goes out of your mind. But what I just keep trying to remind myself is like the reasons why I'm doing this is personally want to have a family with my partner and not feel like he has to go work in the mines or something like that, to be
all
honest.
day and night. Yeah. And not be a father at home, right?
And not be there. I want him to be able to come home, you know, at 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, or have the choice to not have to work full time if that was possible, or come work on the business with me, you know? And then the other thing is the exciting part of where we could potentially go. I just feel like the sky's the limit with this kind of thing. You could just keep going and going and going and
for the future family as well, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
By the time your kids and stuff go through school, there might be I mean, the world's going to be completely different then, but there's going to be opportunities for them too.
Oh yeah.
One of our episodes we had Shannon on, who has a P3. Have you heard of P3 Recovery? It's
where are they?
It's around Australia. It's a franchise now, but it's ice baths, hot plunge, saunas and stuff. Yeah, and we were saying things like the health and wellness industry is gonna grow, and it keeps growing so much.
It's huge.
Yeah, so by the time your kids come around, there's gonna be so much opportunity. Maybe even in one of your businesses, that they can
do
nourish
something.
and do well for themselves. So,
yeah, exactly.
And so it's more than just now, isn't it? And I said to someone, it's about building a legacy. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What's been the biggest pivotal turning moment for you in the last 6 months since you've got into business?
I think like personally is realizing that I can go longer than I think. Like we keep talking about, like when you're going through the tensions, like I'm in burnout, like I'm so burnt out, but you just somehow manage to just keep going. And yes, you have to be careful if you get to a point, but I'm very careful that, you know, even now with my weekends, I still work the weekends, I have to, but I particularly try and take Sundays and I only work for like an hour or two on a Sunday. Or Saturdays, by the time it hits like midday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I'll be like, I'm done for the day. Like I'm going to go spend time with my partner.
Yeah.
And particularly like, this is such like a nana thing of me, but Saturday nights, I don't want to do anything. I want to go to sleep because it's the only night I actually get 8 hours of sleep. Every other night it's about six or like
So you live
less.
a healthier life.
Well, I wouldn't say I even live the healthiest life at the moment because it's just getting up at 4:30 every day, getting to the studio just after 5, teaching 4 classes, sometimes cleaning or doing bits and bobs there, going home. I maybe take half an hour to an hour to like eat and sort some things. Then I'm on my computer the rest of the day. 4:30, 5 o'clock, I head back to the studio to teach the evening classes and then I'm getting home at almost 8 o'clock.
The hustle doesn't stop.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that like knowing that I can go longer than I thought I could, like I'm more resilient than I ever thought I was. But when it comes to the business itself, I would say we did in March, which is where everyone would have seen like the spike in our profits. We sold like a small percentage of our memberships in full for a year at a discount. One, it was more just to get some capital behind us so we could do more with the capital. And I was shocked by how quickly they got taken up. We sold 14 of them or 12 or 14 of them in the end. And within 24 hours, they were gone. Wow. And it kind of just went to me as like, oh, like these clients actually believe in me and what I'm trying to do here. And even with my instructors, I've been very, very lucky that particularly 2 have been with me since Jan. They are still with me. You know, you was talking before about, you know, like problems with staff not rocking up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I haven't had any of that
That's
yet.
so good.
None of that yet.
And it's probably because you're a good leader and people want to be there and want to work with you.
I hope so. I think it's more trying to, and I took this from my last 2 bosses actually, like leading with like a lot of kindness. I think the era of screaming at your employees or giving them attitude is gone. You still can be stern with them when it needs to be, but I think we're all people at the end of the day and we want to be shown some, I think it's respect.
Show people the respect that you want to receive, right?
Exactly. But also we're all on like, and as I say to them, I was like, please like show me some grace as well because I'm learning too. Like
exactly.
A lot of this stuff I'm doing for the first time. If I'm doing anything wrong or, you know, there's something that I should be doing or I'm not doing, whatever it is, just tell me.
Yeah.
And also like, and that's why I want this friendly dialogue so you feel like you can come to me with any issues or anything that's going on.
And that's
like,
what brings
I
the
can do the
honesty and
same.
transparency as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Let's go back to the part you had the campaign that sold out in 24 hours. So obviously that's a campaign that worked really well. And for listeners, you know, who might be having a similar situation, that campaign worked really well. Are you going to do it again?
Oh, so like in our industry, and look, you'd probably know this in general, that subscription-based services are the most important thing you can have in your business. Technically, if I remove those 14 people that weren't like that paid in full, you technically can't include them in your recurring revenue or your memberships. So if I remove those people, we're sitting more around the 100 mark for members. Just because one, you know that monthly revenue is coming in, you're not going to just like randomly spend it all. So you know, okay, this is what I can base my main costs off. So I probably would, I would probably only do it once a year. And it only can be about 5 to 10% of your memberships. Like it can't be anything more than that.
I guess it's a fine line, isn't it, between balancing whether you want the monthly revenue to come in or whether you can do a lot more with that capital.
Well, that's it. Further. And it's funny, like when I was posting all of this stuff and I explained that's the reason why we had such a spike in March, I had one person reach out and go, hey, look, I worked for a studio who did that, but they did all of their memberships like that and they went bust really quickly because they spent all the money thinking they were going to get all these people in.
Yes.
So they weren't obviously very smart about it, but I think having that fine balance of, okay, we have like a very small percentage where we get that capital. So for example, we're going to be using that money to go towards buying some reformers. So we're going to have that dual kind of reformer studio because they cost me 5 of them for 20K.
Wow.
Insane. Yeah, I think I would do it again next year, but I think it would be every time I do it, it would only be, okay, once we get to a certain number of members, I would probably offer it to the people who had done it before first. And then whatever percentage we can do, like 5 to 10% of members, we're like, all right, this funds, this is what the money's going to go towards. And that's kind of what I said to these guys as well. It's like, you know, I didn't at the time have reformers, but I was like, it is going to go towards something. It's not going into my pocket.
Yeah.
But they were also very grateful because they're like, oh, like I love coming here. I'll get a good discount. Why not? So like next year, or even if we did it towards the end of the year, like it'd probably go towards something like we'll install a shower at the studio, like a couple showers, or we're talking about eventually for next winter going like infrared heating through the studio so we can do like hot mat and like yoga classes, or you know, like maybe opening a reformer studio, like purely reformer, and having that close by so they can have one membership and go to both. And just constantly, if I do something that it goes, yes, like this is going back towards you guys and reminding them of that, but I'd probably only do it once, maybe twice a year, depending on like where our memberships are at.
Because you're at one facility, you obviously reach a capacity at some point. Is there any goals for opening up elsewhere? Yeah,
so capacity at this studio, if we had like a full class schedule, if you're expecting clients to attend 3 to 4 times a week, it's around the 350, 400 client mark, like membership mark. So that is definitely the goal. The goal is 200 members by the end of the year, like the 12-month mark for us, and then double it for the following year. Hopefully, as we're going along, like that progress accelerates. The dream is for the studio not to just be like a single-use studio. We have multiple studios that all do different modems, and they're all within like a few kilometre radius. Yeah. Like I've explained to you before, there's a platform called ClassPass. And yes, like ClassPass is amazing, particularly for the user themselves. They get discounted classes, they get to gym hop, and it's a really big thing at the moment, gym hopping. People love trying lots of different things and doing different styles of training because it is beneficial to do lots of different things. But as a business owner, yes, it's good when you're in the beginning and you have some empty spaces you need to fill. Great, you just get a little bit of extra cash. But as a long-term thing, they're having a lot of problems in Melbourne and Sydney at the moment with, you know, everyone being on ClassPass because it's cheaper than being on a membership at a studio, but then the studios can't survive without them, but they also can't survive with them.
And they lose their fan customers, don't they?
Yeah. So then they're just all ClassPass clients, and because they're paying next to nothing for those classes, not next to nothing, but, you know, half of what they'd pay for a usual class, it is destroying businesses over there. So I'm trying to do something a little bit different where I go, okay, and lots of studios do this where they have the one building and you do different modems in the same building. But I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I love the experience of going somewhere different and doing something a little bit different and have the experience of like, there's a different cafe next door, or, you know, like this one's by the beach, I'm going to go for a walk with a friend afterwards, or whatever it ends up being. So the dream for us is to have this space turn into like a dance studio as well. So you have like adult dance classes, like yoga, mat, Pilates, those kinds of things. And then opening potentially next year, fingers crossed, a second space, like a reformer studio. So about a K or 2 away. So then our members can have the one membership. As long as they're on an unlimited membership, they can attend either studio and they can hop between the two.
So you're creating your own ClassPass, right?
Yeah.
You've got the fan customers that don't need ClassPass because you're offering a good multiple different services and stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
Love that. What's one piece of advice you'd have for any listeners wanting to maybe get into business or looking to shift their mindset?
I would take in as much information as you can, speak to the right people.
Learn from the leaders.
Learn from the leaders. Learn from the people who are doing what you're already doing. I'm very fortunate that I've come across many people in my life, like different bosses who I've become very close with, and they've led me in that way. And even, you know, I've got family in Sydney, particularly my auntie who's done very, very well in her career and has always been a big inspiration for me, particularly being a woman as well.
And women in business is one of the most important things.
Yeah. No, I agree. So I would say, talking to the right people, taking in as much information as you can, no matter where you get it from. So podcast, YouTube, like whatever it is, plan, but also don't let planning get in the way of action. Yeah. Like
don't sit on things too long as well.
Yeah. I found that I should have done this 5 years ago, really, or 4 years ago, however long ago. But I was too scared to do it, and I just kept planning, and then you just put it off. Yeah. Just do the thing.
You can plan 100%, but it doesn't mean it's never going to go to plan.
No,
right?
never, ever.
You plan to not make the big mistakes, and plan I guess not the simple stuff, but you can't plan 100% of what's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
it is a roller coaster. It is one of the. It's the hardest and most competitive sport in the world. Yeah. Business.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
But it's the most rewarding and like we said before, we learn so much about ourselves on a journey like this. So.
Yeah. I think the other piece of advice I would have is just don't stop. Just keep moving. Just even if it's like a little bit every single day, just do something that's going to like
No matter
push
what.
the needle.
Because there's going to be something good on the other side of the
yeah.
bad, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you.
It's been really exciting to have you on, and we wish you the best for the rest of the future of the business.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Josh Arnold, and I hope today's episode gave you a fresh perspective, a little motivation, or the push you needed to keep chasing your version of success. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay focused, stay driven, and keep your mind dialed in.